work, the wonderful Desert's Garden by Tammy Lynch Forrest, a local artist who created this mosaic out of 8,600 hand-shaped, hand-painted, hand-fired tile. An absolutely magnificent piece that you may have seen outside in front of our water features. So a really great thing. And to underscore the extraordinary nature of this public art program, we shared with you a little guidebook, a pocket guide we produced of all the 170 plus pieces, including maps of where those are located across the city of Scottsdale. Really something that Scottsdale should be very, very proud of. Public art has an extraordinary workload right now with 19 projects under management just this year and managed by 3 project managers in our amazing team. They include such wonderful things as the new city monument markers. So when you enter Scottsdale, you now see the new Scottsdale city signs, which we worked with an artist to commission, representing the McDowell Range, of course, in their abstracted way. And of course, the Drinkwater Underpass will soon see its new piece. There's a massive spire installed at Raintree Drive and many more really seminal pieces coming online. The collection of 170 plus pieces is now valued conservatively of over $200 million, so a big investment on behalf of the city, and we want to thank the city for their vision in this. Of course, fall is also the season when Cycle the Arts kicks back off our community tours and trolley rides to really explore this arts collection across the city. We've installed augmented reality on every single piece now so that you can on your phone pull up an app that showcases staff telling you about the piece or additional artwork that's only digital that overlays the real experience. And we'll also be back in front of you on October 24th with our first draft of a first full rewrite of the Public Art Ordinance, which goes back to 1983, so we felt it's about time. Lastly, though, in public art, a lesser-known thing is that we showcase 4 exhibits in community libraries, again, north to south, across the city each year out of our portable works collection, and outside curated pieces as well. So these 4 pieces have, 4 exhibits have been showcased just over the last 9 months in Scottsdale libraries. So it's another big piece of service we provide to the city and to our community. Of course, Canal Convergence, it wouldn't be November without Canal Convergence. We're kicking off November 3 through 12. We expect close to 200,000 visitors this year. It is titled this year The Power of Play. It's going to be very playful and fun. Festival, of course, with lots of family activities. I just talked to my staff. We have over 100 individual small events, workshops, classes throughout those 10 days at the canal. Again, kudos to my amazing team for doing all this incredible work. It has become a national tourism draw, and for the 4th year running, we recently won again the Best Arts Festival in the Valley. Once again, go Scottsdale. And of course, I am particularly thrilled that after my first 5 years here, we were able to help the city open this new civic center. I think it is a magnificent, now award-winning new set of venues. It is a family-friendly park by day, but also becomes a world-class events venue by night. When we opened the first half of the park, we took over, I think it opened to the public January 19, and 2 days later, we produced our first event, the Arizona Concours d'Elegance, with 100 world-class cars, rolling artwork, if you wish. And in spring alone, had more than 37 events out on the plaza. And including our own Scottsdale Arts Artrageous Gala. Some of you were in attendance. It was a riot, if I may say so myself, complete with fire show. But then last Tuesday, just a week ago, I think we stepped into a whole new realm with our kickoff concert at the East Ball iconic rock band Wilco. I couldn't have wished for a better opener. Everything went smooth as silk, which is no small feat considering the heavy lift that a first show in a big venue always represents. It was an amazing night. The weather couldn't have been better, reminding us why we all love to live in Scottsdale and that the summer is almost behind us. 2,800 capacity crowd fans, an incredible event, and I think some of you were in attendance, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did putting it together. I want to highlight a couple new partnerships. First off, our good friend Robert Rodriguez is here today. He's been working for years in Scottsdale with his wonderful Dia de los Muertos celebration at the Mission. We are now expanding this celebration, and Robert, thanks for being here tonight. We're expanding this now into Civic Center, where it finds an additional set of spaces to create bigger tableaus, and in the future I think we'll expand even more. And we have added the indoor Fiesta de Danza inside the Center for Performing Arts on the weekend as well, so all great reasons to celebrate. And of course, our newest friends and partners, RJ Largai and his staff at the Oh Wow Company with the Dreamy Draw Country Music Festival, November 3 and 4. This is a terribly exciting event headlined by big national bands that happen to be from Arizona, Midland and Lord Huron. And if you look at, and a long lineup, if you look at just the media list here, from Billboard magazine to Rolling Stone, CMT, Esquire, and many others, they're all going to cover this festival and the new Scottsdale Civic Center. Yes, we even have influencers involved. There's somebody with 3 million followers. I don't know what an influencer is, but I hear it's a good thing for us. We already had more than 7 million people check out the website and had more than 3.2 million people check out our various social media outreach. Jazz Ambassadors, we celebrate Veterans Day this year on November 9, a couple of days ahead of its schedule. This is the jazz big band from the U.S. Army Field Band, another very exciting thing to celebrate those who've served in our community and express our gratitude. In short, 80-plus events in our first full season on this Civic Center. It is an extraordinary accomplishment. If you look at, and earlier was referenced at Fall in Love with Civic Center, the Scottsdale Run website and campaign, the vast majority of these events are somehow either presented or managed by our staff at Scottsdale Arts. Again, huge shout out to our team. And last but certainly not least, we also were able to implement, as of today, the new Scottsdale Cultural Calendar, a citywide calendar, where every arts organization from Taliesin to our community theaters is represented equally on a calendar that showcases all the cultural offerings to our community. We worked for the last year and a half on this project. It is fantastic. We added our community arts grants back in. We had almost $240,000 in request and added Scottsdale Arts' own money to better fund those 14 organizations. And we're adding another layer, as I mentioned, Art Spark, a career development program to Scottsdale Arts offerings in the future. To close this, I want to underscore how incredibly fortunate I feel to be here, that we are very hopeful that after last meetings with city staff, it looks like we are on track to finally build a new small theater in a new location, thanks to the mayor for his inspiration, that will not impact the interior volume of our atrium. It is an exciting addition, long overdue. We hope to open this new theater in October 2025 at the 50th anniversary of the Center for Performing Arts. That's it for me for today. I thank you for your time, and I so appreciate everything we get to do as a partner to the city.
Well, thank you, Scottsdale board members who are here, all that effort. And Scottsdale puts Arizona on the map. And Scottsdale Arts certainly is the draw. I will also mention that the Civic Center, of course, is tied to the Scottsdale Stadium. And we have fall ball going on right now, too. So we've got the baseball component tying with cars and all the other entertainment. All I can say is bravo, and we join together saying bravo.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, next, we will proceed with our business for tonight. During tonight's meeting, the council may make a motion to recess into executive session to obtain legal advice on any applicable item on the agenda. If authorized by the council, the executive session will be held immediately and will not be open to the public. The public meeting will resume following the executive session, again, if the council votes to have that. Secondly, per our council rules of procedure, citizens attending city council meetings shall observe the same rules of order and decorum applicable to members of the council and city staff. Unauthorized remarks or demonstrations from the audience, such as applause, stamping of feet, whistles, boos, yells, and/or other demonstrations, shall not be permitted. Violation of these rules could result in removal from the meeting by security staff. The next step that we're going to get into is called public comment. Public comment is the opportunity for Scottsdale citizens, Scottsdale business owners, and our Scottsdale property owners to comment on non-agendized items that are within the council's jurisdiction. Advocacy for or against a candidate or ballot measure during council meeting is not allowed pursuant to state law and is therefore deemed not to be within the council's jurisdiction. No official council action can be taken on public comment, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes to address the council. If you wish to speak on a non-agendized item, check with the clerk. And at this point, we've received one request, which Oh, excuse me, there are two requests.
It's right here.
Thank you. The first gentleman is Dan Ishak, and then Lee Caulfield. Please state your place of residence, or if it's on record, and 3 minutes. Welcome.
Dan Isaac, address on record. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I'd also like to thank you for many of the decisions that you made at the last meeting, the marathon that it was. First, with regard to the bridge housing, thank you for approving the contract between the city and that hotel. Special thanks to Councilmember Durham for quickly and efficiently dispelling many of the myths and false narratives that were being promulgated by some of our community and unfortunately by Mr. Graham himself. Also, special thanks to Vice Mayor Whitehead for appropriately pointing out that not only was Mr. Graham's stipulation unnecessary, but also inappropriate. This was a contract between the city and a private company. A private company should not be held liable for the actions of the city. If Mr. Graham wanted that stipulation, it should have been at the prior meeting when the city agreed to receive those funds for that purpose. Also, with regard to the Paiute Center, thank you again for approving the funds to replace and update the existing center. It's an important asset of the community. It's unfortunate that it wasn't a unanimous decision. For some reason, Council Member Littlefield did not feel that the city staff could appropriately segregate and account for those funds. I don't understand that, but it was still passed, so thank you. With regard to the housing at the Paiute Center, I'm generally in favor of that. Mr. Graham, in his usual pandering and grandstanding, spent significant time discussing that, but he did actually bring up 2 points that surprisingly I agree with. First, he mentioned the Fair Cloth Agreement. Although the city isn't receiving federal funds directly, we are receiving them indirectly, so hopefully the city staff has looked into that to make sure there's not going to be a fly in that ointment. Mr. Graham also brought up some concerns about having the housing physically connected to the center. Given that the center caters to families and children and those programs, I actually agree with Mr. Graham, and I don't understand why we would actually have the housing physically connected. We wouldn't do that for a school, so I think the city should re-examine that plan. And it looked like there was plenty of space on the parcel of land to allow a freestanding structure, although that will have impact on cost. I think we should consider it. My biggest concern, though, was actually raised by a resident who said that the per unit cost of this development could be about $600,000. That does seem to be a staggering number, again, because the city already owns the land and most of the units are going to be studios and one-bedroom apartments. That's approaching the price of single-family home construction. So I'm sure I'm missing some of the details associated with that estimate, but I do think the city needs to re-examine that estimate. We should not be building something that looks like a barracks or a tenement, but we certainly need to spend the city's and the residents' money appropriately. So I do thank the city for considering re-reviewing those plans. Thank you. Oh, and a shout out to Scottsdale Leadership Class 38.
Thank you. Next, we have Lee Caulfield.
Hi there, Mayor and the rest of the council. My name is Lee Caulfield. I'm at 7726 East Thomas Road. Similar to the comments from the last person, I just wanted to talk about homelessness that's being experienced by the people who live here. I've been really encouraged lately in my email. There's been a lot of outreach from the city and city staff on the Speak Up Scottsdale website and other surveys asking for residents' opinions and what they would like to see the city to do. One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about since after the lockdowns with COVID, there's been a lot of studies on homelessness and the cause of that and why the Phoenix metro area is one of the largest, has seen one of the largest increase in homelessness here. And at my company, we have a mantra, the 1-10-100 mantra, where they say it's easy to keep somebody. It's so it costs $1 to keep a customer. It costs $10 to get them back, and it costs $100 to acquire a new one. And I think that can be applied to housing as well. When I've heard about the appropriate actions that we've taken to house more people, and it's going to cost about $90,000 per unit in the hotel for all the things they need. And I think that's appropriate that we do that reach for the people who in our society that need that help. But also, a lot of studies find that just something as little as $300 a month can keep people from experiencing homelessness. And it seems like that would be another excellent way for us to look at the way that, as a city, we spend our money to try and keep people from becoming unhoused than to try and solve it after it's become a problem. That was the main thing I just wanted to say, and I appreciate all the work and the attention this issue has been getting lately from the city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And with that, I will close the public comment section of our agenda. Next, we will have consideration of approval of the minutes. I request a motion to approve special meeting minutes of September 5th, 2023, executive session minutes of September 5th, 2023, regular meeting and work study session minutes of September 5th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks. Motion and a second. Please record your vote.
Councilmember Durham votes yes.
Thank you. That is unanimous. Next, we will move on to the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are 1 through 18. All the attending information is on file, as well as the details of each case. At this point, we have the opportunity to also call on public comment on any consent agenda items. I see that there is one request to speak, and I just want to mention that for item number 15. There's also the opportunity, if any council members have any consent agenda item they perhaps would need more clarification for, and if so, let me know. Thank you. Seeing none. Oh, go ahead. Councilman Janik.
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, I would like a little more information on number 15. It's a very, very generous grant. I read through all the information, and I'd just like 1 or 2 specific examples so that we all understand the benefit of this grant and how the city will be using it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll ask staff to come forward with that item.
Mayor, point of order, do you want the public comment on that item first?
What we'll do is we have item number 15, and what we can do is typically have the staff answer any question that you may have, and then I'll also have public comment. Perhaps city manager will have to answer that one, or assistant city manager. Oh, I'm sorry. Staff members coming. Thank you, sir. Item 15. It deals with congestion mitigation, and thank you, sir. Please present.
Good evening, Mayor Ortega, City Council members. Today I'm going to present on our accepting of additional funds from congestion management federal grants through the Maricopa Association of Governments. This is for additional funds to our intelligent transportation system infrastructure and network improvements. So specifically, this grant was awarding us improvements to our ITS and network along the Loop 101, so a 2-mile stretch along the Loop 101 to add improvements to the traffic operations at 62 signalized intersections for the ITS systems themselves, and then 37 signalized intersections with new cabinets along the stretch. So you can see on the map, the general spread is along the Loop 101, including the interchanges themselves along the Loop 101 for any major arterial. So what we had originally had $2.5 million of CMAQ money from MAG that was granted to us. We needed additional funds to finish off the project, so we asked for another 2.3. It was granted to us, and so this is to accept that additional funding to add and improve that network. So that's what I have to present.
Thank you. Is that satisfactory at this point, Councilwoman?
Just real quick, is this that you will be able to time the lights with real-time data with the amount of traffic that's approaching the 101 within 2 miles?
That's exactly what it is. So it will put the
Great.
cameras up so that it'll identify when cars come and to and from the 101 and give us more real-time data to better time the signals, exactly.
Oh, okay, and then the next thing is, do you have any idea how much improvement we can expect in our ozone levels? Because you know the valley is now in a different level of ozone with some different penalties from the federal government because of it. How big of an impact do you think this will have on those ozone levels?
I'm not sure about that. We're mostly concerned with making sure the cars go more efficiently through the area. I can look into if we've looked into ozone
Yeah.
data, and I can come back with that information, but we're really concerned about cars moving through those intersections.
That would be great. Thank you very
I'll
much.
bring that back.
Thank you. I'll call on the public now. We have one request from Greg Blair. Please come forward and state your place of residence and 3 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council people. I'm here to talk about the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Vehicle Detection System, CMAQ. As it's stated in your agenda, the CMAQ program is a federal program, and it's supposed to be used to monitor traffic conditions, identify congestion, hotspots, and track vehicle emissions. However, there's a lot of data that's being collected with these systems. The CMAQ system typically employs an inductive loop detector system, which is an embedded pavement detection measuring system that measures magnetic fields, video imaging processing that count vehicles, determine speeds, classify vehicle types, identify individual vehicles, microwave radar sensors. They characterize vehicles by range, speed, and direction. Acoustic sensors, microphones that detect vehicle noises and traffic parameters. Infrared sensors that measure heat signatures of vehicles to determine counts and speeds, as well as Bluetooth sensors to detect Bluetooth-enabled devices in vehicles. Because there's so much data that's being collected, my question is really related to privacy and civil rights. So if we look at some of the concerns of how we're tracking locations of traffic, or I should say vehicles, individual movement of traffic over time, driver behaviors, tracking them, frequent locations, associations, and other means of data gathering, monitoring First Amendment activities, gatherings, religious, otherwise, and potentially over-policing of law enforcement. So my question is really about the amount of technology that's being deployed, how it's being used, what data protections are being applied, and what recourse citizens have if they believe their data has been breached or their civil rights have been violated. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public testimony. I see a request by Vice Mayor. Oh, sorry. Okay, Councilman Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. Questions for staff for Mr. Dome. Thank you for your presentation. What kind of monitoring does the technology and the infrastructure, what does it collect?
It collects real-time data. It doesn't store anything. It identifies as cars are going through. The most storage it'll have is collection of through movements. It doesn't store license plates or even make or model of cars. It identifies when a car is stopped at the intersection and alerts that it needs to probably change the signal.
But doesn't it need to store something because it's got to track patterns and
It tracks patterns and counts, but nothing related to type, make, model, or license plates of cars.
how do you know that it doesn't keep that? Does it have like an AI that reads it and deletes the information you're talking about?
I can get back to you and confirm that it doesn't, but I'm very sure it doesn't. We're mostly concerned with the movement through the intersections, so I can call our
Yeah.
traffic control center tomorrow and get that.
Just a few more questions, because I thought, we have so many cameras already on our intersections. How is this different than the current cameras that we have, that we deploy?
Some of our cameras don't identify the movements. They're just cameras up there, so some of them, our newer cameras that we deploy will identify when a car is coming up to the intersection. It helps us identify the movements and make the intersections flow freer.
Is this information, is it ever stored and used for like law enforcement or any sort of legal proceeding if somebody needed the information?
I would have to get back to you on law enforcement's concern with our system, but as far as it only identifies movement through the intersections. It doesn't, you can't identify an individual person moving through that intersection.
Mr. Blair, who was just up here, he had expressed concerns about privacy and surveillance, and how would you respond to that?
We're not concerned with individual movement through the intersections. We're looking holistically at the patterns of traffic, trying to make sure that the network moves as freely as possible.
How many intersections is it going into, do you know?
67 intersections, sorry.
67? Have we done like a pilot program, and before we're all in, do we kind of have we dipped our toe in the water?
We have used this system before. We're
Okay.
just expanding it.
Okay, so we're familiar, so
Yeah.
what you're speaking from experience, not from,
Yeah, no, I've seen it in action. It comes in, it puts a little square underneath the car, shows that there's a car there, tells the signal that it's time to switch, and switches.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Dome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I would call the police chief up just to clarify any other question on law enforcement and the purpose. Basically, we had a traffic engineer at this point. Hello, chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm happy to answer that question. This one in particular, we are not plugged into. This is not data that we're capturing, but for full transparency, our real-time crime center does have the ability to tap into all of our normal traffic cameras. So if we have a collision at a particular intersection, we can tap into that and then send the appropriate patrol response to that location. We can also tap into those cameras on a call-by-call basis related to a crime in progress or a vehicle that was seen fleeing a scene that we can then look at to see if that vehicle headed in that particular direction. This system that we're talking about on this consent agenda item, we are not tapped into, but we are tapped into the normal city-owned traffic cameras at intersections.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. I'm going to move on to Vice Mayor Whitehead.
Thank you. Yeah, I just also wanted to respond that this is data, general data, not specific data tracking an individual person. And, it is a big concern today about privacy, but anybody who's worried about privacy needs to never use Google and throw out your iPhone. But the conveniences often make us go ahead and use those. So when you're looking at Google Maps to see where to go, that's because they're tracking cars and telling you where there's a backup and telling you to go a different route. So there's an awful lot of data collection in this world, and it is concerning. But we're trying to and we're using general data to make sure that we maximize traffic flow and we increase the safety of our streets, which I hear regularly is a top priority. And I really appreciate the chief's response that, believe me, when there is a crime that happens, everybody here would want the police to go ahead and have the access that they do have to go ahead and catch that person. But in this case, this is just about making our streets efficient and safe. and it will reduce our ozone levels, because if cars aren't idling, we have less pollution. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I think the questions have been answered. I would move to approve items, consent agenda items 1 through 18.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Let me just also call out there are 3 very significant items, consent agenda items. For instance, item number 11 deals with our water campus, and that's an important laboratory expansion that we need so that our water is clean, pure, and monitored. The other one is item number 16. It's a related transportation item, and it's a partnership with the Salt River Pima Maricopa community, and it involves Pima Road. So many of these transportation projects are also drainage solutions. So think about Pima Road. Pima Road used to be, and Scottsdale Road, the only prime north-south avenues before we had the 101. And it essentially, Pima Road's long past due for improvements. And then finally, number 18, as part of this vote that we're going to take, concerns the direct potable reuse sophisticated water system. Again, we are the only municipality which is certified for that, and we're stepping up that program, and that resolution will take care of that and enhance our portfolio. We have a motion and a second. Please record your vote.
Councilmember Durham votes yes.
Thank you. We have unanimous. Appreciate that. At this point, we have a second opportunity to call to the public for public comment, and seeing none, therefore, I will close public comment. Finally, to clarify, excuse me, City Clerk.
Mayor, I apologize. We need to do items 19 and 20.
Sure. Well, I was going to get to that one. I'm sorry, public comment on those regular agenda items.
Oh.
So there was nothing on them, right? Okay, next we will go to our regular agenda item. They would be item number 19 and item number 20. Item number 19 is the Harvest of Scottsdale Text Amendment number 2 TA 2022. Per the applicant's request, this item is being withdrawn from consideration. So we're stating that for the record. Secondly, item number 20. Item number 20 is by the applicant Harvest of Scottsdale Conditional Use Permit number 10 UP, that is 2015 number 4. Per the applicant's request, this item will be continued to a future City Council meeting date. This is the first continuance for this case, and it's granted as a matter of right per our council rules of procedure, as the request was submitted to the city clerk at least 2 business days prior to the council meeting. So we have not determined the date, the future date, and I don't believe we're taking any action on that. So that would that ends the regular agenda items, item number 19 and 20. Next, we will call for public comment. That's an opportunity for Scottsdale citizens and others to come forth with 3 minutes. I hear none, I see none. I'm closing public comment. And next, we will move to citizen petitions. The Scottsdale Charter openly calls for city citizens to come forward with a petition and give it to the clerk, and I would have brought it forward in our discussion tonight. Seeing none, I will close that item of petitions. And at this point, we're continuing with a next item, which would be that there is no further business in our regular meeting. It seems like some people are hanging around, so there must be a party close by, right? So I would request a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank
Second.
you. Please record your vote. Ta-da, done.
Councilmember Durham votes yes.
And Councilman Graham, you probably press yes, and I keep pressing it, and I heard Councilman Durham. So we are unanimous, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.